I'm the most annoying guy on set because I'm saying, excuse me, you do realize that this should be happening and they wouldn't do that, and you haven't read this, that means this would be impossible. And everyone's just going, Henry, just shut up and do the thing. And I'm like, I don't want to do the thing because he wouldn't do it this way, and he can do this.
Were you familiar with this, the Watcher before you, The Witcher?
The Witcher,
before
yeah.
you started?
I hadn't seen the TV show, and I hadn't read the book.
It was supposed to be Netflix's secret weapon. Season 4 of The Witcher had been shrouded in mystery, carefully guarded by marketing teams desperate to rebuild momentum after the departure of Henry Cavill. Yet in a twist of irony, the very thing they tried to keep hidden became the spark that set the fandom ablaze. A full episode from season 4 leaked online, raw, unpolished, and stripped of the spin that trailers and press releases might have provided. What fans saw wasn't the triumphant continuation of Geralt's story. It was a hollow, clumsy imitation that left viewers stunned and angry, and then came Henry Cavill. The man Netflix thought they could quietly replace didn't stay silent. Instead, Cavill openly mocked what he saw, using humor, sharp comparisons, and his trademark composure to dismantle the episode piece by piece. For fans who already felt betrayed, Cavill's words didn't just sting Netflix, they validated every fear, every complaint, and every ounce of disappointment.
What's this? Oh, I saw this. Henry Cavill says he's not a fan of sex scenes in film and television and believes that they're mostly a bit of a cop-out. Fucking true. Absolutely true.
It's when you have a sense that you're going, is this really necessary? Or is it people just with less clothing on?
Right.
And that's where you start to get more uncomfortable and you're thinking, there's not a performance here. TV show or a movie is just filled with sort of gyrating bodies and you're going, okay,
Right.
but I mean, what is this doing for us apart from the idea of like, oh, naked person, great.
Yeah.
The leaked episode wasn't pretty. From the opening scene, the tone felt off. Gone was the grit and grounded energy that Cavill had fought so hard to protect. In its place was something glossy, shallow, and almost unrecognizable as The Witcher. The costumes looked too polished, the sets too artificial, and the dialogue stilted. Fans immediately noticed how different Geralt sounded. Liam Hemsworth's voice lacked the natural growl that Cavill perfected. Instead of stoic weight, the performance felt forced, like an actor trying too hard to mimic rather than embody. Action sequences, once celebrated for their realism, now looked clunky. Sword fights that Cavill trained endlessly for came across as rehearsed choreography. Monsters, previously rendered with a mix of practical effects and careful CGI, now looked cartoonish. One viral clip from the leak showed Geralt swinging his sword in slow motion against a poorly animated beast, prompting fans to say it resembled a video game cutscene from a decade ago. The backlash online was instant and brutal. Memes flooded Reddit and Twitter within hours. One fan captioned a still from the episode, "Geralt of Rivia, now sponsored by shampoo commercials." Another said, "They turned The Witcher into a parody of itself." But the most devastating blow came not from fans, but from Cavill himself.
And it was not even a year ago where Henry very publicly said that he is committed to doing the planned 7 seasons of the Netflix Witcher on one condition. That condition being that the writers can manage to tell great stories while honoring the source material this show is apparently meant to be based on. Now,
Oh, okay. Well, that actually does fucking indicate something, doesn't it? Let's read this again. Absolutely, he says, and this is a quote, "As long as we can keep telling great stories which honor Sapkowski's work." So guess, I wonder what the odds are that a Netflix series isn't going to honor the original content of which the series is built off.
Henry Cavill has always been careful with his words, but he also has a dry wit that cuts deeper than direct insults ever could. When asked about the leaked episode at a fan event, Cavill reportedly smirked and said, "I always told them Geralt's hair should be white. I didn't realize they'd interpret that as fluorescent." The audience roared with laughter, instantly understanding the jab. He didn't stop there. Cavill went on to make fun of the action scenes, joking that Geralt must have taken ballet lessons in the downtime because those sword swings looked very interpretive. Fans clipped the comment, spreading it online where it quickly went viral. In one stroke, Cavill had captured what millions were already thinking. that the new version of Geralt wasn't menacing or grounded, it was unintentionally comical. When discussing dialogue, Cavill again delivered a cutting remark. Geralt doesn't need to talk much. That was always the point. But if he does speak, it should mean something. In the leaked episode, he had more words in the first 10 minutes than I had in half a season. I suppose that's one way to fix pacing, though not the right one. The jab highlighted not just the poor writing, but the deeper truth that the heart of Geralt's character had been stripped away. Cavill's mockery didn't just entertain, it validated. Fans who had been hesitant to criticize too harshly now felt emboldened. Social media exploded with clips of Cavill laughing, fans captioning them with their own critiques of the episode. Henry Cavill roasting the leaked episode is more entertaining than the episode itself, one user tweeted. Another wrote, Netflix spent millions on season 4, and Cavill destroyed it with one smirk. YouTube channels devoted entire breakdowns to Cavill's comments. Side-by-side comparisons were created, Cavill's Geralt versus Hemsworth's leaked performance, with Cavill's humor playing as commentary over the footage. These videos racked up millions of views, turning what was supposed to be Netflix's secret rollout into a public embarrassment. Even mainstream media picked it up. Headlines read, Cavill mocks Witcher leak, fans agree, and former Geralt roasts successor, internet sides with him. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about whether Hemsworth could replace Cavill, it was about how Cavill himself had already exposed the replacement as inadequate. Why did Cavill's jokes land so hard? Because they weren't cruel, they were clever. He didn't scream or rant, instead he used humor to point out the flaws that were already obvious. That restraint made his words sting even more. He wasn't bitter, he was disappointed, and the fans could feel it. The irony was brutal. Cavill had once been accused of being too intense on set, of caring too much about lore and accuracy, but now his very intensity had become the standard by which the show was judged. And when he laughed at the leaked episode, fans laughed with him, not at him. For Netflix, the leak was a disaster, but Cavill's mockery turned it into a catastrophe. Marketing campaigns meant to hype season 4 were drowned out by memes and clips of Cavill's commentary. Petitions demanding Cavill's return gained tens of thousands of new signatures. Fans who had once planned to give Hemsworth a chance publicly changed their minds, declaring they were done with the show. Analysts began predicting a steep drop in viewership for the season premiere. Investors questioned why Netflix had risked alienating such a loyal fan base, and competitors like Amazon and HBO subtly celebrated, pointing out that their fantasy series had avoided such disasters by respecting the material. The Witcher Season 4 was no longer being judged on its own merits. It was being judged against Cavill's smirk, his dry humor, his very presence. Netflix had tried to replace him, but now, even in absence, he was the dominant voice in the room. The leak made one truth clear. Henry Cavill's Geralt wasn't just a performance. It was the standard. Every word, every fight, every brooding stare carried a weight that Liam Hemsworth couldn't replicate. Cavill's mockery wasn't just about bad wigs or clumsy fights. It was about the betrayal of a world he had given everything to protect. Fans began circulating a new slogan. Without Cavill, there is no Witcher. It appeared on Reddit threads, Twitter banners, and even fan-made merchandise. Cavill's laughter had become a battle cry, a way of reminding Netflix that they couldn't erase his influence. The leak made one truth clear. Henry Cavill's Geralt wasn't just a performance. It was the standard. Every word, every fight, every brooding stare carried a weight that Liam Hemsworth couldn't replicate. Cavill's mockery wasn't just about bad wigs or clumsy fights. It was about the betrayal of a world he had given everything to protect. Fans began circulating a new slogan. Without Cavill, there is no Witcher. It appeared on Reddit threads, Twitter banners, and even fan-made merchandise. Cavill's laughter had become a battle cry, a way of reminding Netflix that they couldn't erase his influence. The leaked episode will eventually be forgotten, the memes will fade, and the marketing machine will keep grinding, but Cavill's mockery, that will linger. It's already part of Witcher history, a story fans tell about the time the real Geralt laughed at what his replacement had become. And as Cavill moves forward with projects like Warhammer 40K, fans are making a promise. They will follow him, not because he's famous, but because he respects the stories they love. Netflix can pour money into CGI, hire new actors, and pump out glossy trailers, but they can't buy what Cavill gave for free: authenticity. In the end, the leaked episode didn't just expose flaws in season 4, it exposed Netflix's arrogance, their belief that audiences wouldn't notice when the soul of the show was ripped out. Henry Cavill noticed, he laughed, and the fans laughed with him. For years, fans begged Netflix to honor The Witcher's lore. Henry Cavill fought for them, clashed with writers, and ultimately walked away when it became clear they wouldn't listen. The season 4 leak proved him right in the most humiliating way possible. And when Cavill mocked it, he wasn't being petty. He was reminding everyone that Geralt of Rivia isn't a role you can simply recast. It's a burden, a legacy, a soul. Netflix lost that when they lost Cavill. And now, every leaked scene, every awkward fight, every hollow line only makes his shadow loom larger. The Witcher without Henry Cavill isn't just incomplete, it's a joke. And thanks to Cavill's sharp humor, the whole world is laughing at Netflix. The leak didn't just embarrass Netflix, it reshaped the conversation around how streaming giants treat their most valuable assets. Industry insiders began pointing to Cavill's mockery as the perfect example of how fan trust can't be bought with flashy trailers or expensive effects. At the core of every great franchise lies authenticity, and Cavill had embodied that from day one. His laughter at the leaked episode became more than just a quip. It became a symbol of the fandom's defiance. When he mocked the poor writing and clumsy execution, fans weren't simply entertained. They felt vindicated. For years, they had warned Netflix not to undermine the heart of the Witcher universe, and now the proof was in front of everyone to see. In fact, Cavill's commentary took on a life of its own. Fan creators began remixing his jokes into compilations, pairing his dry humor with footage from the leaked episode. These videos racked up millions of views. Sometimes outpacing Netflix's official promotional content, the message was clear: audiences trusted Cavill more than the studio. Every time his words went viral, it chipped away at Netflix's carefully constructed marketing strategy. The company wanted fans to see Hemsworth as a new hero. Instead, fans saw Cavill as the only Geralt worth remembering. Behind the curtain, insiders whispered that morale at Netflix had plummeted. Marketing teams were reportedly frustrated that their campaigns couldn't compete with Cavill's offhand remarks. Writers felt cornered, forced to defend creative choices that fans and Cavill alike had ridiculed. Even executives worried about what the mockery meant for long-term viewership. If the leaked episode was being laughed at now, what would happen when the full season dropped? Analysts began forecasting that the premiere would underperform, not because people didn't know about it, but because they had already decided not to take it seriously. Meanwhile, Cavill's star continued to rise. His ability to dismantle a multi-million-dollar production with a single smirk only solidified his reputation as an actor who couldn't be replaced. In interviews for unrelated projects, journalists slipped in questions about the Witcher leak, eager to hear more of his sly humor. And though Cavill never crossed the line into cruelty, every carefully chosen jab carried weight. Fans saw him not as bitter, but as protective, a man unwilling to let a story he loved be turned into parody without calling it out. The cultural effect was undeniable. For the first time, a leaked episode of a major streaming show didn't generate curiosity or hype. It generated ridicule. Cavill's mockery reframed the narrative so completely that even casual viewers, people who had never read Sapkowski's books or played the games, joined in the laughter. It wasn't just Witcher superfans rejecting season 4, it was a mainstream audience emboldened by Cavill's wit that turned the leak into a global meme. In the end, the joke wasn't on Cavill, it was on Netflix, and no matter how hard they tried, the studio couldn't stop the world from laughing along with him.